Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Digital Learning Day, our Digital Learning Day Hangout conversation. I'm Joe Turch, Digital Learning Coordinator here at Southeastern School District, and we have representatives from all of our buildings in the district. And what I'm going to do is allow them to introduce themselves. And if we can, maybe start with Mr. Deal. Are you ready? Mr. Deal's on mute.
Yes, I was on mute.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi, Mr. Deal's class. All right, sounds good. Miss Smith, would you like to introduce next?
Hi. Good afternoon from Delta Peach Bottom Elementary. I have here with me a few fourth graders. My name's Kim Smith, and I'm the Technology Integration Coach.
All right, Mr. Schiefen.
Here we have Reagan, Jaden, and Kai. We'll be representing fourth grade at Stewartstown. Here we have Reagan, Jaden, and Kai.
All right, I hear someone's smart board might be on with the YouTube version. If you want to kind of turn that volume down, that way we can hear everyone. Mr. Snyder, do you want to introduce or let your class introduce themselves?
All right, this is 10th period, 21st century skills. Mr. Snyder is a teacher, and yeah, it's beautiful. 9th grade introductory course.
All right, Miss Fang, go ahead. I see your guys on there.
My name's Colin Lingle. It's muted. It's not muted.
You gotta talk. You gotta talk loud.
My name's Colin Lingle. This is Gabe Detmer right over here. Scott Miller.
I'm Aiden Stewart. I'm Derek Miles.
I'm Neil Snatcher.
All right, now from Southeastern Middle School, and Mr. Marks.
Good afternoon from Fawn area. I'm here with a number of third graders. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, great. And what we did was we talked to our tech leaders in the district and put some questions out. And these are about 5 questions. Hopefully we can have a quick discussion before our middle schoolers have to get on the bus and kind of talk a little bit about digital learning. And digital learning is an overall term that means a lot of things to a lot of people. So let's try to find out what it means to our teachers or our students. So first question, what does digital learning mean to you? Either you, the teacher, or you, the students.
Digital learning to me would be basically the education for each, like for students, the education for students that they are getting over the internet. So like if you're researching something about an ecosystem, you would probably go through you would watch videos on it, and you would also probably play some games and go through simulations as well. And you would research what all an ecosystem is and what all it can do, or what all is in an ecosystem. So digital learning would be that you're learning more of your education through the internet. So that is what digital learning is to me.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else want to chime in?
We're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Our new technology helps me learn because we do things like extra math. Our technology helps me learn because we do things like extra math and studies weekly. Also Raz Kids. This also helps us learn by helping with math, science, reading. Everything is there so we can understand it better than we could before. It helps kids have fun while learning and gives them a better experience. teachers don't know everything, so the technology we use can help us learn and teach the teachers something as well. We can easily save things without using a folder or something that we might lose or forget. That's how I think technology can help us learn and understand better than before.
That's a great answer, Hunter. Thank you.
Hunter.
Anyone else like to chime in from any of the other classes? All right, Mr. Schieffen's class, go ahead.
I think digital learning is learning doing programs in the computer, like our dream box that we do, and our programs like that we can't do all that stuff on papers or in books. So that's the stuff that we do on the computer.
Great, thank you. Mr. Snyder, does your class have something to say?
Okay. So we believe that digital learning is learning at your own pace using resources such as Khan Academy and being able to use the tools you have proficiently.
Excellent, excellent answer. Anyone else that we didn't get to? All right, Mr. Deal, go ahead. I see a hand. Mr. Deal, we're not hearing you. Okay. I can barely hear you. If you get a little closer, maybe. All right, again, Mr. Deal, we're struggling to hear you there. We can see, maybe we'll go to the next question. What I heard from that question was a lot about doing programs that really work at your individual pace, and from the high school group to being able to kind of search kind of what they want to learn about and be able to learn about it whenever they want. Brings us to our second question. How do students create with computers? So not only just learning, but that whole idea of creating things that you couldn't normally do. How do you create with computers, either in your classroom or at home? And Mr. Schieffen's class, go ahead.
I was at school on my computer. I designed this really cool design, and then I printed it on a 3D printer, and it turned out really cool.
Awesome, that's great. So designing, and are you an arts person?
Yeah.
I see head shaking. That's good. All right, Miss Smith, I see your hands up. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, this is Leo.
Hi, Leo.
You can create things like you can draw and you can write easily by just typing on the keys instead of just.
But what things have you used to create, Leo? What programs? What?
Google Docs, and you can write things and you can make slides about anything you like. You can pretty much do anything you want on the internet.
Sounds good, Leo. Sounds good. Mr. Marks, do you guys have something?
Well, I know our third graders have designed some stuff using the 3D printers. They had to come up with a problem to solve. Do you want to talk about what you did?
Mr. Marks, I'm having a little trouble hearing. I'm sure everyone else is. Is that, are we talking about the program where the
Yeah.
students had that city design a problem, and they
Yeah.
kind of took it from the initial problem to a drawing to a CAD type program, and then actually taking some of them to printing.
Yes, that's what they did. They used Tinkercad to then design it and then 3D print it.
That was awesome. And Ms. Spangenberger's class, go ahead.
Talk loud. With computers, a lot can be said about what they can do. And with computers, you can practically, well, you can design and as you can 3D print it using, like there's CAD where you can 3D design, and then you can upload that to a 3D printer. And also there's other programs that you can use. You can make blueprints, you can.
All right, Mr. Schiefen, go ahead.
Sometimes you are not capable of doing the stuff that you want to create in like not using your computer. So you could design what you want to make on Tinkercad or some other thing and have it printed.
Great answer. Okay. What I heard from that answer was a number of things that would definitely tie into digital learning, or at least my vision of digital learning. Number one, as far as being creative and creating anything that is artsy or problem solving. I know when I did art projects when I was in elementary school way back, the only person I could really share it with was either my parents or whoever saw my refrigerator door, because that was the only spot I could put it. But when students talk about using Google Docs or slides or making anything about it, the ease of sharing it and getting it out, like today's presentation, to be able to kind of get out to anyone who wants to watch and learn about what we're doing. Next question, I guess mainly, this was a high school or secondary question, but let's see if we can get an answer. Do you feel that you create more or less with computers? Do you feel like you are just copying and pasting others' work, or are you really taking the time to analyze and apply? Mr. Snyder's class, girl, go ahead. I see your hand up right there.
I believe that we create more because we have a bunch of apps that are able to design more. Like we have an apps class. We have an apps class where you can design apps. We have a program that's CAD where you can design architectural anything. There's web design where you can create your own website. There's Java, which is, I don't even know what that is, programming. And
Mr. Snyder, Java is an upper level class, correct? Ninth graders shouldn't have that yet.
Juniors and seniors take it. I just help Pat out with the split programming classes we had here.
Great, great. Thanks, Pat. Mr. Schieffen's class?
I feel that I create more with my computer because there's way more sites that you way more websites and programs that you can do that. Like on paper, I couldn't really like create as much. I could just really like draw on paper and stuff that we had. And like now I have like all these websites where I can make like slides and docs, and we do like Tinkercad models and movies.
Nice movies. I know I saw some of the movies in a couple of the elementary buildings, and I know the middle school has a movie too. I see a hand in Miss Spang's class. Go ahead.
So we feel that analyzing and applying is actually more beneficial towards using technology, because we're able to create different things and be able to express ourselves the way we feel is necessary, and we're able to, it allows us to learn in our own unique way. But digital learning also has affected our learning by teaching us new ways to present projects and facts about school, math, science, any core subjects that are pretty much presented and efficient in schools.
Excellent, excellent. Ms. Smith, do you guys have something to say and share?
Go ahead, Maya.
I feel that
Louder. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Grace?
Yeah. Well, creating and stuff like you do more copying and stuff because sometimes we do work and we copy a lot.
Yeah, actually, the discussion that was going on while you guys were talking was, you know, they know that they copy things, but because they're copying and they're learning, then they are able to create. So I think it's a difference between the high school, the elementary. They're kind of, we talked about they're the consumers learning to be creators, right?
I think that's well put. That's well put. Mr. Schieffen's class, go ahead.
I think that we create more with computers because we get to do so much more stuff. We can search more stuff. We can search things, and then we can create from those searches. And we can write stuff down on drives, and we can write notes, and all those notes will always be there. And so then we can create things. But like if we can search things and put them on a document, and then that document will be there forever. So
That's a real good example. Mr. Deal, want to give it a shot?
Sure.
Mr. Deal, I can hear you're talking, but I can't hear you again. I do apologize. Okay, well, with that question, kind of in summary, the things that I've heard are, you know, we definitely feel like we're creating and we're analyzing and we're applying. And I like the way Ms. Smith kind of summarized that you have to kind of get the basics to take it to creating. And sometimes you just need to take the basics from someone because, you know, that information is out there. Kind of ties back into what someone said on the first question, that our teacher doesn't really know everything. And I don't think they have to, but you could find an answer to everything if you look in the right spot. So the more that we're taking those answers and making them better, or copying something and innovating it, or taking a city, because you wouldn't be the first person to come up with the idea of making a city, but you could definitely try to make that city better. So all of those things I think really kind of tie into digital learning and kind of open some doors that might not have been open in the past. I'm going to go to Ms. Spang's class first for this answer because I believe they're getting ready to go soon. How has having a computer every day changed your learning? And is there anything that we, the teachers, the school district, can do more or less of?
The thing about having computers every day at school is they can help us a lot during class. Say, if you don't know what you're doing, you can easily look it up and you'll have the answer. But another thing about having this is the testing that we do on here, especially with CDTs, kids like to lose interest while they're doing it, and half the time they just start guessing, and because of that, their scores just start to plummet. And with that, I think that we should get a new engaging software that makes kids want to do it instead of just giving up halfway through and just winging it. That's what I believe that we should do with our computers.
I totally agree. Anytime we're talking about testing, whether it's on a computer or paper and pencil, there's a lot of it, and the more project-based stuff we can do, the better, in my opinion. Mr. Schieffen's class, go ahead.
I have improved my learning because of all of my learning online websites such as Dreambox, and the teachers and the school district or whatever can do more of those educational programs because Dreambox has really improved my math skills.
Awesome. Mr. Marks, go ahead. I can see you're on there.
Okay. Well, Luke, how does using a computer or a Chromebook every day help your learning?
It makes it easier because
Talk louder.
It makes it easier because you can look stuff up on Google and do inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do you can do already tests.
Okay, so some of our classwork. I know Will yesterday had some questions about the story we were reading, and he then, when we were done, immediately went and looked stuff up. So I think it's so useful having them every day in the classroom.
That's great. It goes back to that idea that you no longer require the teacher to give you all the information or your parents to give you all the information, that you can find it. So excellent, excellent. Mr. Snyder, how about your class? I believe your groups would be the students that have had computers in their hands probably the longest out of all of our groups. Anyone in your group want to talk about that one?
I believe that having a computer every day can improve your learning because it makes you more independent in trying to find the answer to a reason instead of going to like your peers or your family members and having them tell you that maybe false information.
Oh, Emma, is your math book online?
Yes.
All right. Well, tell us about that.
Our math stuff is online. It helps us learn ourselves instead of having problems from other like teachers and stuff like that, and helps us figure it out ourselves.
Excellent, excellent answer. Mr. Sheehan, I see a hand up there. Go ahead.
I think having a computer every day has improved my learning because like when we just used to have books, we had some good information, but like now that we have computers, we have like all sorts of websites and like updated things for some of the books might be old and might not be true anymore. So like we have more new information and like it has way more information.
Do we all agree that everything on the internet is true?
No.
No, okay, good, thank you. But it does make it more readily accessible. And I know that our district still has books, but we may not use them as often, but they are necessary at times. I think, again, what I'm hearing is individually you can kind of get your own pace or find out what you want to and not have to wait for a teacher or not have to wait to get home. If you're in a classroom and the teacher says something you don't understand, you can quickly find out what it is and kind of plug right back in. And also what I heard from our first group is that you could also kind of tune out. So that's kind of both a blessing and a curse, or a success and a challenge. So it kind of goes both ways on that one. Mr. Sheehan is waving, so I think he has something to say. Go ahead.
I do. And one thing that it's helped the teachers, I know with Reagan and Kai, they're on a self-paced math study guide. So they're allowed to move at the pace that works for them, and they just check in with me. So that makes it easier for a teacher to differentiate their lessons and even their units that they're working on. So that's a big help on us.
That's great. I mean, I think that kind of a program would not be available if it wasn't for some type of digital learning. To be able to have that many different groups or that many individualized paths in the room, I definitely think that is one version of digital learning, and one that I think we're doing a nice job of here. Let me ask the last question, because I know the middle school has to go and I want to try to keep to our timeline. So question number 5, discuss your biggest success or frustration with digital learning. Of course, I prefer successes to try to be a positive person. And if you want to kind of guess where it's going to go from here, I'll take that too. So Mrs. Spangs, your class ready? I think you're the first ones that get to go, and I think that's your bell.
That's our bell. Bye.
Bye, Miss Spangs' class.
Dang it. God, it's close.
Who is that?
All right, Mr. Marks, I see a hand in yours if you guys want to go.
You say what you said.
I accidentally
Say what you said.
What did I say?
What's the biggest success that you feel with?
My biggest success is it's still kind of not that fun to do the stuff, but it makes it funner to do it online.
So he's saying it makes it more fun, learning more fun.
Yeah, it makes it want to do it. No one.
All right, Mr. Sheehan.
My biggest success with digital learning is you get to have everything on your computer. It's not like if you didn't have digital learning, it would be like, okay, so here's your math papers, here's your math books, and you have papers everywhere, just everything. But with the computer, you can have, okay, so here's Dreambox, here's your math, here's Dreambox and Think Central, have them saved, so you can just click on them when you're ready, and you won't lose it. So it's all easy to get to.
Great, Ms. Smith, go ahead.
Okay. So my second graders are being very shy, but they just wanted to say that they just feel so successful being able to decide and do it at their own pace and choose their choice, their free choices of what they're going to read, and then be able to show what they've learned, you know, by taking AR tests, by writing a summary on a Google Doc, or even moving independently through their Go Math. They are so pleased that they can do their own differentiating. Thumbs up? Am I right? They're being very shy. I don't know why.
And that's all right, Mrs. Smith. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Mrs. Smith kind of took her show on the road and walked down the hallway from a 4th grade class into a 2nd grade class. Again, not something we could have done without any kind of a digital component here. Mr. Deal, do you want to try? I'm not sure if we can hear you yet.
Sure, we can try. Can you hear me now?
We got you, Mr. Deal.
All right. Obviously, the biggest frustration is things not working the way we want them to. But the success is learning in different ways, learning at your own pace, and allowing you to be creative in what you're doing.
All right, Mr. Schiefman, go ahead. I see hands up.
My biggest success with online learning is like what Jaden said. You don't have to like have all these papers and stuff that you might lose or throw away. My biggest frustration is how you might have like Wi-Fi connections or loading signs.
That's horrible. It happens to
The
all
dreaded loading sign.
Does that happen more at school, at home, both?
More at home.
Okay. Mr. Snyder, how about your class? I know you guys have to get going soon too.
So I just want to comment from a teacher point of view. I am really open arms to digital learning. I have a student whose class ended in January, and he's actually still working on projects that he started in October. Hopefully you'll see him in the news. He's trying for the digital animation for the PA Computer Fair. We have computers in the room right now working on the animation. But that class itself was an eye-opening experience for me. Instead of having everybody on the same pace, I let the kids go. They steered their own directions. They wrote contracts on what they had to do, and they did it. There was no downtime. By far, one of the better experiences I had teaching. So it was quite amazing this year for me.
Mr. Snyder, that is awesome. That is exactly what I like to hear. And this whole group, this whole experience of bringing, you know, elementary school, intermediate school, middle school, and high school together is to kind of get that idea and that continuum out. I was doing a project for the district, and you know, we were looking at, you know, what is a graduate or what is the profile of a graduate. So we pulled this year's kindergartners, which are 2017. They won't be graduating until 2030. So what would you need in 2030 to be successful? And I think what you need are teachers who are willing to, you know, kind of take the risk that Mr. Snyder's doing and that a lot of your teachers are doing, and allowing multiple things to happen in a classroom. And the only way that's possible is really to kind of digitally support and digitally keep track of everyone. So kudos to all the teachers that had participated here today. Thank you to all the students. You guys are awesome. You rock. And do we have any last words, answers, and or sign-offs from each classroom? So feel free, if you have a last word, you can do that, and then maybe sign off.
Okay, I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
All right, so as you saw that I was walking in the hall again, one of the things that my position and what goes on in this school has offered is that we have our makerspace, which is all part of our digital learning too. And our students that are here right now learning independently, set goals, and they're here as a reward. So it's all very motivating. Right, guys? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Awesome, Mrs. Smith. That's great.
Ray, don't wait.
Go ahead, Mr. Marks.
I know my kids, one of the things that they've been really excited about is our virtual reality goggles that we've been doing as we've been reading stories.
And then you write about them.
And then we watched a story, we read a story about a volcano, and then we took a trip actually through a volcano. So I know they've been very excited
And then we saw the dinosaur one with
about
the dead
that.
body.
So
The dead body.
so there's lots of great things
And there's
happening in
also
this
the dead
district.
body and the
So guys,
dinosaur
can
one.
we say goodbye to everyone?
Bye, Mr. Marks' class.
Bye.
All right, Mr. Sheephen's class, you guys want to sign off?
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Bye, Mr. Deal's class. I see that you guys had to sign off, maybe? Awesome job. Thank you. Mr. Snyder?
Hi. You probably can't hear me.
I got you now. You turned off mute. That's awesome.
Smith?
Miss Smith, are you still there? Are you signing out? All right. Well, thank you for anyone who was watching on YouTube. This was a trial, a first time for Southeastern School District. Hopefully it was a success. Hopefully it will continue the conversation. I believe digital learning or maker spacing or anything that is new and different can fall under that same umbrella. And what we really want to do is take kids from just completing and testing to really continuing and growing. Dr. Bickford, our assistant superintendent, making a cameo here. All right, we'll see you. Great job, everyone. Thanks.